been working with dassault on a couple of projects, but this was kind of the idea came, the EV experience was we have this opportunity. We were thinking about what's the kind of future of transportation would be. We always seen these kind of en route kind of gas stations. So what is the kind of the future would be? And we actually were looking at kind of building the product that can be easy, prefabricated and installed very quickly on different, and mostly kind of we look at the kind of mostly off-road places that is not actually close to the kind of urban center. So the logistic is always an issue. And the actual EV experience, it's looking in kind of the way architecture is done. We actually reverse the practice. From day one, we always kind of look at it kind of how we can change the kind of the traditional way that design done, and be actively participate from design all the way to construction. I think if you look at the title of the work with dassault, it talks about building a product. So it's not kind of one of our projects. And this is the part that we've been working with dassault for many years, looking at kind of how architecture can be move away from a one-off bespoke project-based, project-centric, that you have a client, you have a scope, and then you work like a try and kind of figure everything per side, and to look at the kind of what happening in the other industry, and looking at kind of more product-centric approach. We create a kind of backward. We have the kind of sustainability approach. That idea was like trying to use the kind of recyclable and reuse material. We created kind of a geometry with James and Ivan. We work kind of on the kind of creating perimeters that can easily automate it, depends on a different site. Based on the structure, we created kind of a limitation of all these kind of timber and ETFE can work together, and we create a series of scenarios.
But for this project, it was really less about the one single image and more so about creating scalable systems. So when we talk about design, we mean we're looking at the manufacturing process, we're looking at the logistics process, we're looking at the installation process, and making sure that all of these components, these geometries, these shapes, these relationships, they can facilitate, the speed, cost, sustainability. And so when we talk about recycled materials, why we chose them, well, there's a clear aspect of wood and ETFE are both recyclable materials. They're renewable materials. But the other aspect of it is the manufacturing, logistics, and operational qualities of it. So when we chose ETFE, well, ETFE is a lightweight material that's 2% the weight of glass. It's self-cleaning, and it allows a lot of natural daylighting through. So there's multi-stage reasons throughout the entire life cycle why we chose that material. The other objective was that we needed to be able to access remote areas where maybe you can't really have a big crane, or you don't have road infrastructure to facilitate big installation crews. So all of these materials are broken into small components and are able to be adjusted with a small crew in order to make the entire process more efficient. So when we're talking about the carbon footprint, we're talking about the cost and the impact. That is sort of our line of thinking. And the same goes with the steel. We really want to optimize where it's used, where all the materials are used, in order to simplify the entire process, not just the single project. When we talk about tools like 3D Experience, we're talking about the tools that really are able to handle and collapse that entire process, from design to manufacture to logistics and assembly and operation. So when we look at design criteria, we get the feedback loop through the entire process. So we can optimize components based on their downstream impacts. If we just remove a lot of the repetition and rework from the industry, we can be more productive, and we can be more efficient as a whole. And so when we approach this project, that's one of the thesis statements we're trying to prove out. Our goal was to see if we can develop a design system or a design process that that is scalable from the beginning. It includes the limitations of the manufacturing process, the limitations of the logistics process, assembly, and of course the programmatic design qualities.
Along with Dassault Systems, I've been engaged with Partisans for a number of years on a variety of different studies. And in particular on the experience, Partisans really wanted to immerse themselves in the 3D experience platform. And we'll call it, I was a guide or liaison in that process, along with direct support from Dassault Systems on how Partisans was utilizing the 3D experience platform to productize this concept for the EV experience. We believe in virtual conceptualization, virtual simulation, virtual construction. All of this has to come together. So the importance is, capturing the concept in a manner that is actionable and adaptable, being able to extend that into simulation and the concepts of system design and testing those systems, to the actual virtual construction aspect, testing the either off-site or on-site assembly and manufacturing of these components. So for us, it's this digital continuity across all of those components. And I believe, both Ivan and Pooya commented on this, that our focuses were not about an end goal. Our focuses were on reuse. And the idea that this EV experience could adapt to local sites, local characteristics, became a very different digital exercise. So we not only had to walk the process through a digital cycle once, but we had to design the inputs of what might change. What solution space are we designing for that this system would adapt to? And that really gets into the productization side of this. And I think it's an important differentiator, because I think much of the AEC community is well versed in producing incredible results for one-off scenarios. It's how do you develop a system that can change and adapt, and be reusable in multiple scenarios. That becomes really interesting. And for the AEC community, that approach and productization allows them to scale A, their design influence, and B, their business in ways that they couldn't without productization. It's a very different business model, and it is one that will become prevalent, I believe, in the AEC.